Welcome to English Storyline, where thrilling stories unlock your English fluency in one captivating ride. What if the most feared leader in history spent his final day not in battle, but hidden underground, marrying in secret and poisoning his loyal dog? Hello, everyone, and welcome. Before we start, here's a brief overview. Adolf Hitler served as the leader of Nazi Germany from 1933 to 1945. He initiated World War II, resulting in millions of deaths, and oversaw one of humanity's darkest eras. We share this account not to endorse him, nor to condemn him. This presentation serves educational goals only, to draw lessons from the past, to aid your English practice, and to detail his final 24 hours. If you're interested in his entire biography, check it out on our channel, but today we concentrate on his last day, the conclusion of it all, narrated like a film yet rooted in actual events. Welcome to the concluding day of a figure history won't erase. This isn't a partisan clip. It's not for endorsing or opposing anyone. It's about a specific point in time, the final 24 hours of Adolf Hitler. A person who once addressed crowds of millions now lingered in isolation underground. A person who once directed forces now remained below, anticipating death. And today, we'll guide you through those closing moments. We'll step into the shelter. We'll sense the barriers tremble from explosions overhead. We'll observe terror on the countenances of those who trailed him to the finish. And indeed, this clip is ideal for English listening exercises. We employ actual occurrences, straightforward narratives, and strong terms so you can boost your English while experiencing one of history's most gripping days. Let's commence. Section 1, April 29, 1945. The shelter, the spouse, and the collapse. It's far into the evening. The surface world burns. But beneath, within the chilly cement shelter under Berlin, moments drag. Adolf Hitler, 56 years old, sits by himself. He recognizes the conflict has ended. He understands the metropolis above falls block by block to the Soviet forces. He realizes demise approaches in mere hours. Yet at this instant, he issues an odd command. He instructs his aide, ready for a ceremony. Why at this point? Why, after 14 years of quiet, did he select this instant, at the world's close, to wed her at last? Eva Braun had accompanied Hitler since her teenage years. She had lingered in obscurity, distant from public view. She never appeared next to him in images, never recognized as his companion in addresses. For 14 years, she remained patient, devoted, beyond the limelight. She had attempted to end her life twice, not from harm by him, but from feeling unseen. Yet she persisted. She trusted him. And in his closing days, she declined to depart the shelter, despite pleas from others to flee. And that's when he realized this lady had trailed him, not for authority, not for wealth, but from unwavering personal devotion. This wasn't a tender choice. It wasn't rooted in affection. It concerned authority, ceremony, and closure. He aimed to conclude his existence with all organized, a union, a testament, a final address, a deliberate demise. It marked the start of his farewell. In a tiny space, faintly illuminated and hushed, the ceremony started. No blossoms, no tunes, just the scratch of writing instruments on documents and far-off blasts above. Eva Braun donned a light blue silk gown. Her expression remained serene, overly serene. All around her noted the same. She grinned as if she had embraced all. Hitler wore a plain black outfit without decorations or attire. A public official positioned before them and posed the standard queries. "Do you accept this lady?" And just so, after 14 years, they became wed. The personnel attempted to rejoice. A modest table was arranged, a champagne container was uncorked, but nobody sipped. Nobody chuckled. The atmosphere weighed too much. Following the ceremony, Hitler proceeded to an adjacent space and settled at his workstation. With a quivering hand and vacant gaze, he started voicing his concluding statements, his governmental legacy. His typist, Traudl Young, positioned opposite and recorded each line. He offered no apology, he shed no tears, he conceded no defeat. Rather, he accused the Jewish people for the conflict. He faulted his commanders for disloyalty. He asserted that history would understand him, though he wouldn't survive to witness it. And then he uttered something explicit. I refuse my remains to be seized. I desire them incinerated. He recalled Mussolini's fate, whose corpse was suspended and defiled. He wouldn't permit that. He endorsed the paper, deliberately, meticulously, his ultimate directive. Now, after completing the paper, Hitler retired to repose, not to slumber, since nobody genuinely rested that evening, but to recline and await. Above, Berlin shattered. Soviet armored vehicles demolished the remaining Nazi barriers. Structures turned to rubble, and surface dwellers fled, wept, perished. But within the shelter, time seemed halted. The barriers were sturdy, the atmosphere stagnant. It resembled a realm encased in crystal, immobilized, yet vibrating with each external blast. Eva positioned beside him. She clasped his hand. They spoke little. They didn't require much. Both understood this served as their wedding trip and their internment. Hitler's attendant delivered a modest meal, arid loaf, some sweetener, and tea. He consumed sparingly. He appeared slimmer than before. His countenance had matured 2 decades in a month. His right hand shook. His gaze dulled. His tone, when speaking, softened, nearly murmuring. He avoided discussing conflict or flight or optimism. He merely sat quietly with Eva nearby, drinking tea as explosions rattled the ground. Then a dispatch arrived. Heinrich Himmler, the individual who had aligned with Hitler for years, had attempted covert peace talks with the Allies sans Hitler's approval. Hitler gazed at the account for an extended period. Then he erupted. He yelled, shrieked, struck the surface with his fist. Traitor! Deceiver! I ought to have realized. He commanded Himmler's detention, but inwardly he knew no one remained to apprehend him. The framework he constructed disintegrated. And for the initial time, even Hitler appeared vanquished. His gaze silenced. He reclined in his seat. He recognized the conclusion had genuinely started. Where are you listening from right now? Drop your city in the comments. Section 2. April 29, 1945. Afternoon to late night. It's midday now. The shelter's air grows denser. No fresh air, no daylight, just musty atmosphere and dread. Adolf Hitler strolls gradually into the strategy chamber, where conflict schemes once resided. He once positioned there with commanders, indicating nations, directing soldiers. But now the charts are worthless. The markings on them signify nothing. The conflict is defeated. The realm is shattered. He gazes at the charts, not to strategize, but to recollect. These once mapped triumphs. Now they merely tombstone aspirations. He speaks sparingly. His form quivers. His limbs weaken. His private physician proposes remedy. He declines, because inwardly he knows this isn't a strategy chamber anymore. It's a gallery of my downfall. Hitler possessed one ally he relied on above all, Blondi, his German shepherd. She had accompanied him for years, resting nearby, strolling beside. She remained devoted, silent, perpetually composed. But now, Hitler summons his physician, Werner Hase, and utters something astonishing. Fetch the toxin pills. I wish to trial them on Blondi. Why? Because Hitler distrusted everyone now, not even the venom supplied by his associates. He suspected someone, perhaps even intimates, might deceive him. Provide counterfeit pills and let him endure. So he directed the physician to administer one pill into Blondi's mouth. The canine perished in moments. No noise, no struggle, just demise. For an instant, Hitler remained silent. Then he averted his gaze. That confirmed for him. The venom functions. I can employ it too. But for many in the shelter, this marked the instant everything shifted. Because when Hitler eliminated his own canine, the sole creature he genuinely trusted, they realized he isn't intending to depart. He isn't intending to endure. He is intending to perish. But it didn't conclude with Blondi. Eva's 2 Scottish terriers, Wolf and Stassi, followed.
The pups from Blondi, mere weeks old, were also dispatched by Hitler's canine caretaker. They were toxified quietly, swiftly. Why? Because Hitler refused to abandon anything. No corpse, no lineage, no creature, no recollection. The shelter was turning into a site of complete obliteration. If I'm departing, he pondered, then all I contacted, all I cherished, must disappear too. That afternoon, Hitler assembled his leftover commanders. They had served him for years. Now they positioned before a man who appeared exhausted, hollow, and already partially deceased. Some implored him once more, "My leader, we can yet flee. There's an aircraft."
"We'll conceal you in camouflage. You can head south." He shook his head gradually. "No, I won't flee. I won't be seized." He informed them, "I will remain here. I will perish here in Berlin." Some felt stunned. Some felt terrified. Some felt quietly eased because now they knew they could depart sans remorse. He granted approval for others to attempt flight via the drains. Some commanders, chauffeurs, and assistants readied to depart that evening. Most would perish in the effort. But Hitler, he finished relocating, finished addressing, finished combating. Back in his chamber, Hitler sat alongside Eva Braun. She had switched outfits, now donning a plain dark blue gown, sans cosmetics, sans adornments. She hadn't wept all day. She hadn't displayed terror. She was prepared to perish. Hitler regarded her and stated, "You yet have opportunity. You can depart." But Eva shook her head. "No," she replied. Her words were simple, but they meant everything. She had chosen death over life without him. And in that moment, Hitler saw true loyalty, perhaps for the first time. As the sun set outside, the bunker grew colder. The power flickered. The walls shook harder. Soviet artillery was getting closer. Inside, people began to whisper, "What now? What do we do? Do we run? Do we fight? Do we die?" Hitler didn't answer. He just sat in his room, staring at the wall. His mind was no longer on the war. It was on the end. He knew tomorrow would be his last day. He knew he would not see the sun again. And as the bombs fell like rain above, the bunker waited in darkness for what would come next. Section 3, April 30th, 1945. The final morning, the last goodbye, and the end. It's early morning now. The bunker is awake, but no one has slept. The air smells of smoke, fear, and burnt papers. Adolf Hitler wakes up slowly. His body is weak. His hand shakes as he dresses. He puts on his uniform one last time. Not for show, but for habit. He looks in the mirror, but he doesn't see a leader anymore. He sees a broken man. Outside his door, his staff waits. They know today is the day. They can feel it. The bombs are louder. The ground shakes more. The Soviets are almost here. Hitler calls a meeting, not for strategy, not for orders, but for goodbye. He gathers his closest people, secretaries, officers, cooks, drivers. They stand in a line, silent, scared. Hitler walks slowly in front of them. His steps are small. His voice is weak. He shakes each hand. He thanks them for their service. He says, "You have been loyal. Now you are free." Some cry, some nod, some can't look him in the eyes. After the meeting, Hitler goes back to his room. He sits with Eva. They eat a small lunch together. Pasta, vegetables, no meat. Hitler was a vegetarian. They eat in silence. No words are needed. They both know this is their last meal. Outside, the staff prepares. They burn more papers. They pack bags. They say quiet goodbyes. The bunker feels like a sinking ship. Everyone knows it's over. Hitler stands up. She nods. They walk into a small study room. The door closes behind them. Inside, Hitler takes a cyanide capsule and puts it in his mouth. He bites down. At the same time, he lifts a gun to his head and pulls the trigger. The poison and the bullet work together. He dies instantly. No pain, no scream, just silence. Eva takes her capsule too. She dies quietly beside him. No gun, no blood, just poison. Outside the door, his valet and officers wait. They hear the shot. They wait a few minutes, then open the door. They find the bodies. Hitler on the sofa, blood from his head. Eva next to him, calm, no wounds. They wrap the bodies in blankets. They carry them up the stairs to the garden above. The garden is destroyed. Broken trees, craters from bombs, fires everywhere.
They place the bodies in a shallow hole. They pour gasoline over them. They light a match. The flames rise high, the bodies burn. The staff stands back, watching in silence. Some salute one last time. Others cry. The fire lasts for hours, but it's not enough to destroy everything. They add more fuel, more fire. But the war doesn't wait. Bombs keep falling. Soviet soldiers are close. The staff runs back inside. Inside the bunker, people wait in silence. Nobody talks about the future. Nobody makes plans. They just sit, frozen in fear, knowing that any moment now, the Soviets could be at the door. Before his death, Hitler had signed his final political statement. In it, he named Admiral Karl Donitz as the new leader of Germany. Not Himmler, not Goebbels. Donitz is in northern Germany.
When he receives the message, he's shocked and confused. Germany is falling, the war is over, the capital is lost. But now he is the head of a dead empire. He immediately begins trying to negotiate peace with the Allies, hoping to surrender to the West, not to the Soviets. Inside the Führer bunker, something is different. The man who controlled everything is gone. There are no more orders, no more leadership, no more future for the people still there. Secretaries, cooks, aides, soldiers. The reality begins to hit. We are not part of a government anymore. We are part of a grave. Some people start packing small bags. They grab warm coats, food, water, and maps. They know they need to escape. They know the Soviets are closing in. They know capture might mean torture or death. But there's one problem. There is no clear way out. Now that Hitler is dead, Joseph Goebbels, the Minister of Propaganda, becomes the most senior Nazi official inside the bunker. He is not surprised. He was there when Hitler said goodbye. But Goebbels has no plans to run, no plans to surrender. He calls his wife Magda and says, "We will not leave." Together, they make a terrifying decision. They will die here and they will kill their 6 children with them. Their decision shocks even the remaining staff, but nobody dares to argue. While Goebbels prepares for death, others are preparing for escape. A group of guards, officers, and bunker staff start planning routes out of Berlin. Some try to use secret tunnels. Others plan to move disguised as civilians. Some plan to wait until dark and slip out under gunfire. The first group to try, around 20 people, leaves just before sunset. They wear civilian clothes, carry light bags, but above ground, chaos rules. Soviet tanks are rolling in. There are gunfights on every street corner. Fires light up the sky. Only a few escape. Most are killed or captured within hours. Otto Gunsche and Heinz Linge return to the garden. They check the remains of Hitler and Eva. What they find is disturbing. The bodies are still partly visible. Some of the skin is burned. The clothes are blackened, but the bones and faces are not fully destroyed. They pour more fuel, burn again, but it's not enough. Then they gather the partially burned remains and bury them in a shallow crater not far from the exit. They cover it with dirt, broken wood, and debris from the bombings. No cross, no sign. They want the bodies to disappear forever. Back underground, Magda Goebbels gives her children sleeping pills. All 6 of them, between the ages of 4 and 12, fall into deep sleep. They are dressed in clean white clothes. She then brings in an SS doctor who helps her give the children cyanide capsules while they sleep. They die silently without ever waking up. Then Joseph and Magda Goebbels go to the garden, the same place where Hitler and Eva died. They sit together. Joseph shoots himself in the head. Magda takes poison. Their bodies are also burned, though not completely. By now, the bunker is becoming a mass graveyard. The bunker is almost empty of hope. The senior leaders are dead. The streets are overrun with Soviets. The sky is full of fire and gunshots. No help is coming. Some people cry, some drink, some pray. Others sit quietly in their rooms staring at the walls. No one knows what will happen next. But one thing is clear. This is no longer a war. It's just the end of everything. Thumbs up if you're learning English with us every week. Section 4, May 1st to May 9th, 1945. The bunker is now darker than ever. The man it was built to protect is gone. His wife is gone, his dogs, his generals, his closest circle, all either dead or planning their escape.
But the war above continues. Soviet soldiers are inside Berlin now, fighting street by street. Bullets fly, grenades explode, bodies fall. Inside the bunker, only a few remain. They are afraid, hungry, trapped. They don't know if they'll be killed or captured. That night, a voice is heard on German radio. It is Admiral Karl Donitz speaking from northern Germany. He announces that Adolf Hitler has died, but he does not say how. The Führer has fallen in battle fighting for Germany. That's what he says, but it's not true. And the world knows it. The real cause of death, suicide, is hidden from the public. The Nazi regime wants to protect Hitler's image, even after death. But the truth will soon come out. At last, Soviet troops reach the Reich Chancellery, the building above the Führer bunker. They kill or arrest the last few defenders, then storm the remains of the building.
They go downstairs, and there it is. The bunker. Cold, dark, half-flooded, filled with smoke, broken furniture, maps on the walls, blood on the floor. They find papers burned in piles, food supplies scattered, beds unmade, poison capsules left behind, and a strange silence. But one thing is missing: Hitler's body. The Soviets search every room. They question survivors. They look in tunnels. They search the garden. And then they find something in a shallow crater near the bunker entrance. They discover a burned male body with a bullet hole in the skull. A female body half burned with no visible wounds. Remnants of clothing, boots, buttons, a dental bridge. The Soviets believe this might be Hitler and Eva Braun. But the bodies are so badly burned they cannot be confirmed immediately. They collect the remains, they hide them, they take photographs, they begin secret autopsies. Back in Moscow, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin receives the news. He sees the bodies, he hears the reports. But instead of telling the world, he orders silence. Why? Because Stalin wants power over the truth. He thinks if we don't confirm Hitler's death, the world will remain uncertain. So he says nothing. And by doing that, Stalin starts one of the biggest historical mysteries of all time. With no official Soviet confirmation, the rumors begin to spread. Maybe Hitler didn't die. Maybe he escaped to Argentina. Maybe it was a body double. Maybe the body was fake. Maybe he's hiding, waiting to return. These theories become legends. And even though his staff had seen him dead, even though his body was found, people start believing the lie. Because when truth is hidden, fiction grows. It took decades to confirm everything, but here is what actually happened. 1. Soviet doctors conducted autopsies on the burned bodies. 2. They compared dental records, the most reliable identification method available at the time. 3. Hitler's dental assistant, who survived the war, later confirmed the records. Her testimony matched the burned jawbone found in the garden. That jawbone, with gold bridgework, was Hitler's. The Soviets kept it hidden for over 20 years. Only in the 1990s, after the fall of the Soviet Union, did they finally admit, yes, the body we found was Adolf Hitler. With Hitler gone, Goebbels gone, and Berlin fallen, there was nothing left. On May 7th, Germany signs its official surrender to the Allies. On May 9th, they surrender to the Soviet Union. The war in Europe is over. Nazi Germany is dead. The Third Reich, once powerful, terrifying, global, has ended in a bunker, in silence and flames. The news spreads fast. Newspapers print huge headlines. Hitler dead. Suicide confirmed. Germany surrenders. War in Europe ends. Some people celebrate in the streets. Some cry in private. Some don't believe it at all. Because how could a man who started so much horror end his life in a quiet room with a pill and a gun? It felt empty. It felt too easy. But that's the truth. He didn't die in battle. He didn't face justice. He didn't beg for mercy. He died by his own hand underground, surrounded by fear, failure, and fire. The Soviets destroyed most of it.
They blew up the entrance, covered the ruins with concrete, and tried to erase it from history. For decades, the location was kept secret. Today, the site is just a simple parking lot in Berlin. No signs, no memorials, no statue. Because Germany chose to never glorify the place where evil ended. And that is powerful. And this was the true historical story of the last 24 hours of Adolf Hitler. Told not to praise, not to support, and not to attack, but to learn, understand, and remember. What we learn from this story: no matter how powerful someone becomes, if they lead through fear and hate, they will always fall in silence and shame. History is not just about facts. It is about understanding the cost of blind leadership, war, and destruction. The most dangerous leaders are not the loudest. They are the ones who are followed without question. And finally, if we do not learn from the past, we risk making the same mistakes in the future. This video also helps you practice real-life English through deep storytelling, emotional vocabulary, and simple sentence structure. So, if you are learning English, you are not just watching history. You are improving your listening, understanding, and speaking.
If you found this story powerful, if you learned something today, and if you want more true, emotional, and educational videos like this, then please subscribe to this channel right now, because every video here is created with purpose to help you learn, grow, and become stronger in English and in life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next powerful story.